Our 75 Dart, cold start, starts fine. Put the seatbelt on for the interlock system, depress the gas pedal, starts right up. So the Dart started up with no problem. But after this is heated up and we have an engine that's warmed up and we shut it off, it takes us sometimes 5-10 minutes to get this thing to start again. A lot of people will say it's vapor lock, and maybe it is. So we're out cruising the car right now. We're going to stop, get something to eat, then come back out and try and start the car. Thanks for joining us on Mo Power Garage. I'm the Professor. Alright, we're cruising along about 55 miles an hour. We've got the air conditioning on. The 75 came with air conditioning, the RV2 running R12. We're about just a little to the left of center on the temperature, factory gauge, and our thermometer is saying it's 38 degrees coming out of the vent temp. So we're cruising, we're having no problems, we're able to maintain speed. So why, when we stop and then shut the engine off and try and restart it, do we have so much difficulty? We're almost to our destination. All right, same as before. Seatbelt interlock. Turn it over. We've got nothing. Nothing at all. Give it a pat with the gas. Nothing. So we were inside for about 25 minutes and it won't start. So now let's see how long we get to wait. All right, we're cruising again. We got it started. We had to wait about another 5 minutes. All right, we made it back to the shop. Temperatures about straight up on the temp gauge. Vent temps are 40. AC's been running the whole time. The car cleared up. The little misfire that we felt, it seemed like a misfire after we started the car, cleared up. Drove fine. Just took a while to get it to start after it got warm. So now we're going to diagnose this, and there's two directions: fuel or ignition. I normally start with ignition, so we're going to look this thing over and see what's going on. All right, we got the Slant Six's air cleaner off. My preference would be to start with ignition because these cars have a ballast resistor. Now it's starting though and running, and many people online here will say you start with the fuel side of the problem because it's acting like it has a fuel related problem. I don't disagree. So I've got the air cleaner off. You can see the 1-barrel 1945 Holley carburetor. We're going to check to see if any fuel squirts out. That would give me an indication that there's fuel getting to the float bowl, which would probably eliminate a vapor lock. So we'll take a check on that. All right, looking down the barrel. I'm going to open this up and see if we see any fuel down there. Yeah, some fuel went in. All right, so the float bowl probably has fuel in it. All right, we know we have some fuel in the float bowl. So we may have had fuel percolating over, boiling over into the manifold, causing us a difficulty. So we're going to push the gas pedal all the way to the floor and turn the engine over and see if it starts. Still didn't start. Today's fuels are different from 1975. And they evaporate more readily, so we could have ended up with some percolation boil over. But that doesn't look like the case either. Now the next thing to consider is what everybody always says it is, vapor lock. Well, we had fuel in the carburetor, and it was being pumped most likely up there, not as a vapor, but a liquid, because that's what the pump pumps, liquid. And the lines are routed in the factory location to the pump, and then from the pump, We put the fuel filter down here, which is a modification many people do with Slant Sixes, rather than up here right over the exhaust manifold. The line itself is warm, but it's not hot at all. The car's been sitting for about 10 minutes. Even at the carburetor, this is not warm now. With the ignition key in the run position, we hooked up our remote starter switch to the starter relay 12 volt in the S terminal, and then we added a spark tester to the coil wire, and we ran a ground wire off that all the way back to the battery just to be sure we have a good ground. Now we're going to turn the engine over. We don't have any spark coming out of the coil, but we know it works because we drove home. All right, with the ignition switch turned on to the run position, we're going to get out our 1989 test light, and we're going to check to see if we have voltage at the B positive terminal. But the first thing you always do with a test light, we're grounded, so we're going to go to the 12 volt post and make sure the light comes on. And it does. Now we're going to go to the B positive terminal on the coil, so you can see the light. So the light's coming on, so we have 12 volts to the coil, or we have voltage to the coil. On startup, it would be 12 volts. Now with our test light powered up, we're going to go to the negative side of the coil. All right, so we're attached to the negative of the coil. The light should strobe if we're getting a trigger. Oh, or the engine will start up. That wasn't expected. All right, what just happened there was unexpected. It triggered, it also started. So it's been about 30 minutes, 35 minutes of taping and setting up, and the hood's been open the whole time, and the engine bay is sufficiently cooled down, and it started. So we're going to take that coil off. We're going to bench test it and see what's going on with it. All right, the engine started on us, quite a surprise. The coil had cooled down quite a bit. It's barely above room temperature now. We've got it out. We're going to test it just on the bench for the primary resistance and the secondary resistance, and then we'll make a determination about the coil. It really surprised us that the engine started. We saw the test light pulse like it was supposed to, and then it just started. So something's heat related. We've been running the AC. It's really hot out. This is when the problem has started showing up. So let's get our numbers, and then we'll make some decisions what we're doing. All right, we've hooked up to the primary of the coil, negative, positive side, and our reading is 5¼ ohms. So now going from one of the sides to the center, we're getting 5.28 kilo ohms. That sounds better on the secondary. All right, we got our heat gun out, and we started adding heat, and the resistance has gone up on the coil, and the temperature is 179, 180. 185. When the temperature hit about 200, 198, we got that. So the coil opened. So we've got a failure internal based on temperature, it looks like. So what we're going to do is turn off the heat gun. So we're going to put it on the cool position, let it cool off. We're going to let the coil cool off and see if it comes back. Looks like we've got a coil problem, so we're going to get out another one, install it, go for a test drive. We took the Dart out on a test spin, drove it about 26 miles, and the temperature never got above the midpoint. The AC stayed right around 40 degrees the whole time. And that small misfire or hesitation we had at idle is gone. So we're going to let the car sit for about 15 minutes, and we're going to see if it'll start up. In the meantime, let's go check the coil that's been sitting in the trailer for about 35-40 minutes and see if it has continuity again or if it's still open. All right, we got our coil sitting here where it was. Turn on our meter to ohms. And we're reading right around 8 ohms. Weren't we 5 ohms earlier? This thing is room temperature. I don't know what's going on with this thing. So we've got a new coil on there. This one is kind of suspect. So after about 15 minutes, we've let the car sit here. We just opened the hood. And now we're ready to see if it will start, or it'll stumble and bumble and not start like it did earlier today in the last several days. So let's give it a try. See what happens. Started up on the first try. No smell of fuel, any percolation problems, no real fuel related concerns that I could see. It looks like it was that coil. Our ballast seems to be working properly, but I have another one in the glove box. So thanks for checking in with us today, doing a little diagnostic on a vehicle that won't start once hot. Everybody thought it'd be fuel. It turned out that it was spark, ignition related. Thanks for checking in with us on Mo Power Garage. I'm the Professor. I'll see you next Saturday.